All right, and your impression about the ministers. How would you assess this government? How would you assess the ministers?
Well, we would also say that the president works with, just as you have said, with people. What we have seen is that the government has favorite ministers. And the reason for their favoritism is known to the layman in the streets. The president wants to return in 2027. And so he has some people who he thinks are going to achieve that result for him. The triumvirate of...
He has the right
Yeah.
to seek for re-election.
He has the right to seek for re-election. But you see, you have the right to seek for re-election democratically. Not by employing people like Wike, for instance, the most garrulous, minister that he has, who, if he had stopped at garrulity, would have been bad enough. But Wike's hands is in everything deplorable in this country.
The FCT residents are praising him, and they see him as one of the super ministers who is pretty doing well.
The FCT residents that are praising him are all linked to government. The real residents of FCT who are suffering on a daily basis. I just watched a video where a lady who took the pains to invest over 6 billion on a particular garden got it destroyed in one day because Wike, according to the video, and the voice that was speaking in the video, wants to allocate that land to his cronies.
It's an allegation until proven.
Yes, it's an allegation, but there are several allegations, even in court, that he has grabbed land so much to the tune of 36 billion. The other allegation, reported by a very reputable paper, the West African Weekly, tells us that Wike bought houses in Florida. He bought houses for his wife and for all his children in Winter Spring, Florida. The name of the street was given, the address number of the house is given. America, their own man, well, let me not call him their own man, Shaware. Shaware is from the same southwest as the president. So he will have no reason to be attacking his brother because we have a government of ethnicity where everybody employed by Tinubu is from the southwest. Shaware, trying to be a pan-Nigeria, went to Florida, dug up this case, and instituted a suit against it. What is the government here doing about it? Latest news we read, which we will also call an allegation, is that Wike tried to go and change the records in the Code of Conduct Bureau because when he declared his access to become minister, he refused to name those properties. He had bought them before he became minister. So there have been clear investigation into it, which the Digest have the Gazette have reported, West African Weekly has reported, giving us details that it is not just that Wike is buying land in Florida, and the wife, who is a justice of the court in Nigeria, claims to be an American and indeed a Democrat, and that's something lawyers will have to take up and test it, whether we allow for such dual citizenship, where a justice in Nigeria will be a member of another, a citizen of another country, and a member of a political party in that particular country. Now, Wike did not only do that. In Abuja here, the record is very clear that in the FCTA, Federal Capital Territory Administration, Hassan, I think Mariga is his name, who is the officer in charge of land resources, blew a whistle that Wike was taking up all the land in Abuja. And the guy was harassed. It's we civil society that went to ensure that he didn't go to jail. He was arrested over what? So the evidence is clear that Wike, as the commander or captain in Tinubu's army, what is Tinubu's problem with Fubara in Rivers? The problem Tinubu inherited was Wike's problem with Fubara, wanting to be a perpetual governor of Rivers State. Even after he has left Rivers State and they have given him the FCT as minister, he still wants to preside over Rivers State. That is the problem. Is there any other problem you have as a journalist? The president had to intervene, of course, to his own advantage. So Wike is becoming an albatross in the president, in the president's regime. It's becoming an albatross because everywhere you go, it is either Wike against Chidin or the Kalu, Wike against Fubara, Wike against FCT land property owners, Wike against... Why? Is Wike the first president we have, the first minister we have in the Federal Capital Territory? So why is he everywhere? Why has the president not tried to rein in Wike? Wike, before the election, was PDP to the eve of the 2023 election. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks to the election, Wike became APC. And records are there and video coverage of the violence Wike visited in Rivers State to ensure that APC is named. They never won that election as the winners of Rivers State. And since then, the violence footages are clear. Wike, I watched the video myself when Wike told the president that you owe me. And the president replied, I don't owe you anything. What did he do for the president that the president owes him?
We may not know.
Okay, where?
We are not there debating.
Okay, where? So still on the realm of speculation, what did Fubara do? Why Wike had to move the 27 lawmakers of Rivers State against him? Wike did not make any secrets of his involvement in the problem we have with democracy, especially in Rivers State. Wike boasted that until Fubara will come to play ball to his own, intentions, there will never be peace in Rivers State. And when he thought that Fubara has played ball, have submitted, he came out again after the so-called lifting of the ban. Do you know or have any account of where the president wrote a letter and gazetted it and sent it to the two chambers of the National Assembly to debate over the matter of the emergency rule in Rivers State? There's no record of that. Do you have any account of when the so-called coastal road was subjected to bidding and procurement processes? Do you have any account? Does the press have any account? There's no record of that. So we have a government that thrives on ignominy, that thrives on illegality, and Wike is a champion of that. He has no bounds. How can such a man have a bound? Who by one stroke of inebriate press conference that he had with Shehu Kimbaloyi obliterated his entire identity, vicariously impersonated his own father, who was a reverend, who is known in Rivers State. Everybody knows their house. Everybody knows who Wike stayed with. And Wike said that his father was a manager of many corporations and that he was born with a silver spoon. Now, he didn't know that by doing so, he was obliterating his own ancestral identity. A man who will have no scruples to do that. How would anybody entrust that man with public office? He has no scruples. So, he is an albatross. We have how many ministers? About 42 ministers. He's always on the news for the wrong reason. He has quarreled with civil society people. He's quarreled with Adeyadu. He has quarreled with Dino Melaye. He has quarreled with all government officials. He is a bull in a China's cup. He's going to break down everything if the president does not remove him from his administration. In any case, they are all going in 2027 by the people's will, the people of Nigerians' will. So, if you want to talk about ministers, talk about other ministers. Umahi may not be perfect, but he's trying. Because I know that Umahi is going to operate according to the body language or whatever other language the principal speaks to him. But whereas that the constructions are not complete, I can testify that the East-West Road is under construction. The Lagos-Benin Warri Road is under construction. There's the second Niger Bridge extension from Benin to Asaba and then to the second Niger Bridge. They are all under construction. They may not be completed yet. Wike's preoccupation is to break houses in Abuja and grab the land. Now, if somebody who works as a civil servant would blow a whistle, the person who is in charge of the land resources in Abuja will blow the whistle. What better, evidence that the president needs than to act and say to him, why not investigate these allegations? How can everybody in Abuja be lying against Wike? So Wike is a no-go area. They had an election in Edo State. Wike boasted. Onuha that they brought there was his cousin, who became the rec in Edo State. Then the police commissioner who presided over that election was his classmate. And he boasted that he has interest in that election and nobody will be able to do his relatives and his friends anything. And it's on record today, every civil society person in this country commented on the Edo election. From respected Odikalu to the former NEC, what's his name? The former NEC, Nigeria Electricity Regulation Commission Chief Sam Amadi, and to all other reputable organizations commented on that election. What's the result today? We have a governor in Edo State foisted on the people of Edo State. So there is no trajectory. You will look at that. You say, okay, look, Wike is doing well in this, or is a plus to the president's cabinet. So the president had better do well to remove him. If you look at other ministers, they need to come and sit down and tell us what they are doing. This is a government where you have to have ministers sit down to tell you what you were doing. During the days of Obasanjo, you didn't need ministers to tell you what you were doing. You were seeing what the ministers were doing. You were seeing Okojo Iweala in the international scene managing our economy, advising on sovereign wealth fund, advising on Nigerians to save. You were seeing Obi Ezekwesili, in fact, they named her Mrs. Due Process because of the way she was particular about procurement. You were seeing what they were doing. So what are these ministers doing? They have to come and tell us on television. And when you go there, you don't see anything. You say you have completed 2 kilometers of a road that is going to run through Lagos and 7 states down to Calabar. You have just completed only 2 kilometers and you have spent 2 trillion to do that. So, 30 kilometers and you have spent 2 trillion to do that. So we have an administration that thinks that they can continue to pretend and continue. See, they cook up figures. I read an article just written by Dino Melai. This government has borrowed over 5 trillion from the debt management offices statistics and data. That's where Dino Melai quoted it from. When he came, he met about 87 point something trillion. Now we have about 152 point something trillion. The government has borrowed 65 trillion. And it's only 2 years. And they say they are spending on infrastructure that are audio infrastructure. We don't see the infrastructure. The roads are not working. The president himself runs every day to France to go and get medical treatment. He constructed, or rather renovated, a VP's house. Up till now, I don't have information that the VP has moved into the house. The last time I had the information, the VP was not staying in the house. He bought an Escalade. He bought a yacht. So he bought a jet. What we are having is condominium. We are having government who has unlimited resources because the money shot up from the so-called dubious subsidy removal. I say dubious because there was no subsidy. What was happening was that people, cronies to government of the day, had receipts with which they were just making money from the state purse. That's what was happening. They listed no crews, so there was no subsidy. So what he just needed to do was identify those criminals and jail them. He didn't have the moral courage to do that. Rather, he, in a bravado style, he wants to take credit for what never was. He didn't stop the crime. The only crime he stopped is that he's probably not paying those people the money, but he's spending it himself. He wants to make his daughter the Aloja of all markets in Nigeria. He's created a great crisis now in Edo State, where he brought the daughter to come and become the Aloja. That is ancient to the Benin Kingdom, as the monarch of Benin told them. So his son, until he was stopped by the North, was already going around the country. This is a government where you have commander-in-chief of the armed forces man, daughter commander-in-chief of the armed forces female, son commander-in-chief of the armed forces youths. So we have nothing. If they don't know, let them know today that the Nigerian people have nothing that they can point to when they are looking at this government to say, look, this is how we are benefiting from this government. Small traders who go to Onitsha to buy textbooks and come and sell in Lagos or sell in this thing and make 800,000 naira will be paying 20% of that money if they put that money in the bank by January. That's the tax law. 20%.